What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle. Today in the world of indie games. Oh, you almost caught me. The intro almost caught me up. I was getting ready to go and stretch, and you guys were going to get an intro that was just like, what's up, guys? But I stopped it. I stopped it right on the front end, all right? Sometimes you got to go for it, and sometimes you got responsibilities. Today in the world of indie games, we're going to be taking a look at a title called Dustwalkers. This is an interesting game, and so I think they have the fundamental pieces in the right place. If you haven't seen this game before, it is a title about a bunch of space marines. You drop down onto a zombie planet. There are loads and loads of bad guys shooting all kinds of projectiles at you. Luckily for us, you also have your own set of ridiculously overpowered projectiles that can wipe out the entire screen too, which does give the game a very satisfying skill shot loop. And the goal of the game is to hold out for as long as the level says. Along the way, you're going to be building a base. You're going to be building defenses. Right now, those are implemented in a pretty simple way, but most of the pieces to this game feel really good. In fact, I like it a lot. I've spent the last 2 hours playing it, and the time just flew by. However, I do have some first impressions about the game, things that don't work about it that I think if they could get that fixed up, they'll actually have a winner on their hands. So we're going to play the game for about 30 minutes today, see if it's something you wanted to add to your wish list, or if it's one of those games you would rather not play for yourself. That's also perfectly fine. On top of that, you can find a link to the game down below in the description. They do have a playtest. I don't know if the demo's still up. So there's no demo, but you can just actively opt into the playtest if you want to. It seems like the developer, from what I've seen on the Steam forums, is aware of the flaw that I'm about to point out and is planning on completely reconfiguring the game in order to fix it. But that link is down there if you wanted to play the game and try it on out. On top of that, you can also find a bunch of other Nerd Castle links just in case you wanted to give them the old spicy click. But let's dive on in and we'll start off the game. So at the beginning of this title, you're going to be put inside of a room where you've got a whole bunch of different staff, personnel that you can play around with. This does matter because every single one of these guys is procedurally generated. They have a class. The class dictates what weapons they're good with. So an Exo, for example, is really good with rocket launchers, LMGs, and shotguns. Whereas if you're a Marine, they're good with battle rifles, DMRs, and sniper rifles. And then if you have somebody that's just the basic infantry, they're good with assault rifles, SMGs, and pistols. This matters because different Diablo-style gear is going to be dropping during the course of our run, and you never know quite what you're gonna get. You can take multiple Marines in with you when you play through this game, but I'm not going to because I think taking multiple Marines in is actually really clunky, unwieldy, and doesn't work very well. In fact, the game is completely playable with one Marine, which then makes you question, like, if I can beat the game with one Marine without sweating, why do I need to bring like 3 with me? But anyways, we're going to bring in Zen Vault over here. Zen Vault is going to have access to a number of different weapons. I think she's infantry by default, but she is a rare infantry, which means she starts out with her stats quite a bit higher than all the other recruits. This game is permadeath, so if you go into the mission and your recruit gets killed, they're gone permanently, which does add a little bit of tension because these guys are fairly rare with the green border, and they're way better than all the other units that have a white border, so losing one can be especially painful. But let's dive on into an op, and we'll see if we have a good time with it. The Ravaged Swamp is the only level that's available right now. I would swear to God, I played this game like 8 months ago, and I swear to God, in the demo there was a second level that you could play through, but I guess they might have removed. I'm not going to say they removed it because my memory is notoriously terrible, but I thought there was a second level, is ultimately my point here. You can see our badass Valkyrie dropship getting ready to take us down to the planet, and man, some zombies are about to get mulched today. I'm ready for it. We're going to leave those brains hanging. Welcome to Planetside. It's time for us to get the job done, Marine. So the entire point of this game is that you're trying to mine this dust-like substance, and you use it as a currency in order to build up defenses and make your base stand quite a bit better against the tides of zombies that are coming on in. We've built ourselves a gem mine right there. That's going to help us because it's got a turret on the top that we can fall back to, just in case we need to. As we're killing stuff here on the battle map as well, we are going to be getting XP as denoted by the gray bar at the bottom center of the screen in between where it says space and tab down there. Right there is where you can see that at. Every time we level up, we're going to press the T key, and it's going to give us access to something. We can get a cryo bolt, we can get a fire bolt, or we can get a lightning orb. Every single time you play through the game, you're going to kind of get similar stuff. So you've got a projectile, that's going to be some kind of orb that you throw at the enemy. They all do different stuff, whether it's putting dots on the enemy, or whether it's exploding and freezing guys, or whether it's letting off little chain lightnings that bounce around. They're all projectiles. The things that spawn off the top of them and the way that they modify as you get further into your run, though, is what's going to make them distinct. I'm going to take the lightning orb. The lightning orb is not super good at level 1, but it gets better. I'm also going to take the lightning shield. So you're going to get 4 abilities in this game every single time you play through. You're going to get a projectile, you're going to get a shield, you're going to get a strong AoE, and then you're going to get an ultimate, which basically bangs out the entire screen. Everything in this game is very tactile and fires very quickly, and they also have very short cooldowns, which I'm a huge fan of, because, like, I don't know, dude, I don't like it when games you have abilities and the cooldown on everything is like 30 seconds. I like my abilities to be spammable. At heart, I'm a Path of Exile player, and I just kind of like that sort of gameplay. Now, these right here are going to be loot piles. If we can destroy these, they spawn zombies when you shoot them, but if you manage to destroy them, they drop loot. And you can see our first pair of boots over here. You hit the tab key, it's going to bring you on into your equipment menu. It does pause everything up for you when you come in here. And you can see that we got the Arctic Lust dexterity boots. I wonder who makes those. Is it Under Armour? I feel hella dumb for it, dude, but I was playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and there was apparently Under Armour, I guess, just like sponsored that game or something, and there were some drippy shoes in that game that I saw, and I was like, there's no way these are real. So I jumped on Amazon real fast, and oh my god, they were real. I put those in my cart so quick. They got here the other day. They're so comfy. We've got the Arctic. I feel kind of like lame and nerdy, though, for buying shoes that I saw in a video game, but they were so drippy. They were so clean. Like, I just had to have them. This is going to give us movement speed, so 6% movement speed is good. It's going to give us a number of other stats. I do think that the game suffers a little bit from stat bloat. Like, every single item has 5 or 6 affixes on it. I think they could go a little slower on that, but the game's duration is only like 16 minutes, so maybe spamming out all this stuff on you is a good idea. I'm not really too sure. Either way, we've got boots that make us move faster. They're giving us more health regeneration. They give us accuracy, because I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not twin sticking my gun in this game. Your character auto fires. I do think it would be a much better game if you were allowed to twin stick it up, but for the moment, you can't twin stick it up, and I don't even know if that'll work inside the confines of the way that the game has been programmed. Another level up for the pile. Let me see if I can finish. You know what? You guys all just get hit by my lightning orb, please. And then I'm going to have to fall back for a second. Let's upgrade. So I can get a couple of things here. I don't want any of them, though, so I'm going to reroll. Your rerolls are run-based in this game. They're not universal. I do wish that they were universal. I always like it in roguelites or games with banishes and whatnot, where your rerolls, you get to use them the amount of time specified each time the prompt comes up for a level up or whatever. In this one, once you use up all 3, I'm pretty sure you don't get to use them anymore. I do want the defense drone, though. The defense drone is my little buddy, and he's going to help me kill zombies a lot more effectively. The downside is that the defense drone has quite a long cooldown, so he's not going to be firing all the time. I want those botas, though. Gimme dem botas. We do need to protect our mines, so I'm going to start stamping out defenses over here with my hotkeys. These are going to take a second to build, but once they're built, they should put a considerable amount of scow down on the enemy. And you see the green diamonds that are popping up off the enemy's heads? That's generating currency for us so that we can build more defenses. We can add on to our defenses. They are modifiable. You can add upgrades to them and stuff like that. Ooh, we got an epic upgrade. Okay, so this is going to be a stat upgrade. We can either get strength, intellect, or focus. Intellect is going to make my abilities hit harder. That's stuff like my lightning orb. Strength is going to make our melee hit harder. You do have a melee attack in this game, but I don't use it very much because it's got a long cooldown. Or we can go with focus, which is going to give us health regen. Since that's kind of a weak point in our character right now, we only get 0.3 health per second, I guess. It's taking us 3 seconds per tick of health. I would like that to go up. We've got another level up right there, so we can get our AoE now. We can get a Fire Void, a Fire Draft, or a Cryo Draft. I'm going to take the uncommon one because it's really good. We've also got another boost right here. We're getting very lucky with our rolls. I'm going to take the +4 to Dexterity because that's going to give me a solid bit of movement speed. That way, once you get to the end of the game, I hate to tell you, but at the end of the game, game, you're definitely going to want to have a lot of movement speed, because this thing right here that says Rift Opening, that's a boss that's getting ready to spawn on top of us, and some of the bosses in this game are very fast. If you don't dedicate at least a couple of points to your dexterity, and by a couple I mean a lot, you are going to get absolutely, positively whooped when the boss comes through. We do have a helmet right there. That might be nice to grab. My weapon has a very slow fire rate, too. I wish it was faster. We actually have a mod right now for our... Yeah, we've got a mod right now for our projectile. So when a projectile hits a hostile, it can snare them. We can make it so that when it hits them, it applies static, which increases the amount of elemental damage they take. Or we can take lightning arc. Lightning arc is pretty much the only thing that makes this projectile good. So it's a no-brainer to take that right now, because it slows the projectile down and it makes it fire off an AoE like every quarter second that deals just an absurd amount of damage. There's our first boss. You can tell by the skull that's on his portrait right there. The first boss is kind of a gimme, so I wouldn't worry about him too much. I didn't mean to drop that back there. That was kind of me just being bad at the game. Mag dump him a little bit, get a little bit of damage off on his ass. There we go. Defenses are starting to chew him up a little bit. Dash through behind him. Okay, and we've got a battle rifle and a rocket launcher. Let's go through real fast, and I think it's time for us to upgrade our gear. So I've got a new helmet. It's not what I want, but it is going to make my abilities hit harder. And then we've got a battle rifle over here that's got 111 gear score. So I think it's going to fire a lot slower than the gun that we currently have, but it's going to hit a lot harder too. I'm going to take it. I'm not a massive fan of the battle rifles in this game. I prefer the LMGs, and I also prefer the SMGs and like the higher attack rate assault rifles, but this will do for right now. I'm going to throw that over there, and we are starting to get a decent amount of crystals that we can play around with for the moment. I'm going to hold this point, and we're actually going to make like a little rendezvous point over here, just with a bunch of grid of guns. There we go. And hopefully they can hold. They're already taking damage, so I'm going to put in a number of mortars down here just to help them out with support fire so that they can hold a little bit longer. It is getting expensive to deploy all this stuff, though. And then I'm going to make a push up this way to see if I can knock out that other loot container. I am going to re-roll this one, and I'm glad that I did. I'm going to take +4 dexterity because I still feel like my character's a tiny bit sluggish. I am going to take a secondary defense drone because it is a very considerable increase in your DPS once you have it. I'm going to keep throwing orbs over that way, hoping to whittle that thing down, and it looks like we've got ourselves a brand new chess piece. Very, very nice. Once I get some more cash flowing into the coffers, I will try to creep forward and put another defense grid around that guy so that we're mining a little bit more effectively. If you see these green things on the map, they are going to be healing capsules. They're med kits. You may notice the frame rate dip a little bit as we're getting further on into the game. That's definitely a thing that's going to happen. You're not imagining it. Performance is one of the problems that this game has, where it's not all the time. I can tell the developer worked on it because the last time I played the game, by the time you were about 5 minutes into any run, you were already lagging like hell. It doesn't do that now until the final phases of the game when there's just so many zombies on screen that you can't even parse what's going on. But still, performance is going to be one of those situations where this game where it's going to chug out on you. Now we get to pick our ultimate. Your ultimate is a screen wipe. Just think about it that way. We can get a giant death laser. This one right here probably has the most sex appeal. This is a really cool looking ability, but it doesn't hit that hard. It's mainly used for clearing out hordes. Fire Fisher hits like a truck, but is considerably smaller, so it's kind of like your single target damage. And then Cryo Eruption, I'm not a fan of. I don't think it's very good. I'm going to take the shock laser because I think you guys are going to like it. I think you guys are going to think that it's awesome. Here, I'll light it off for you. There you go. There's the death laser, spinning brightly all around us. Isn't that fun to use? We can also get shock orbs whenever we deploy our shield. That might be nice. I'll definitely take that. Give me the shock orb. Oh my god. There's so many hives over here. Solid chance for us to get some upgrades for our gear, though, if I can kill them off. We do have a helm down here that I forgot to pick up, too. Another level up. Let's take the 15% reload speed because I've noticed our reload, I think, is handicapping us ever so slightly once we start to get grouped up on. And then I'm going to drop an AoE right there just to burn those up a tiny bit. Maybe throw a shock orb over that way, hoping to score an easy kill. And I think we've got enough points now where I can set up the next chunk of my defense grid, but I'm not too sure. Keep throwing that out there. And if I can get a few of these guys murdered, that'd be really, really nice. I need to bequeath the muck duck upon them. Throw another one that way. And then throw another AoE down right there. Hopefully we kill those two off. And the downside is my base is now under attack. But I need to push forward a little bit over here and actually set up a defense grid. So let me get some guns while we've got some breathing room. I'm going to capture this mine right here. I'm going to put in as many mortars as I can. These guys, they outrange your turrets unless you upgrade them. And so I'm going to upgrade these turrets right here. But you will have to mix in with mortars and whatnot too. Otherwise, you're going to have a bad time. There we go. Now we're kind of dropping shots on them. Let me cap this real quick. Oop, hit the wrong key. There we go. Drop that right there, and I'm going to try to catch this. You can put up walls. The walls will block all projectiles that are trying to get after your individual little turrets and things over here. I don't know if it's worth it. I haven't really been doing it, but you can do it if that's the kind of thing that brings you pleasure. Another defense drone. Yeah, I'll take another defense drone, sure. So a little buddy to watch my back. I'll probably take some more movement speed, and I will get an ultimate cooldown kind of fixed up by 20%. That way I can spam it a little more effectively. I would like to finish all my defenses over here, though, before we move on. I want to make sure that this is going to hold before anything else kind of falls apart on me. We do have a turret over here. I need to kill this turret before it starts launching at my base. There we go. And it dropped a nice little pair of boots, too, which I'll gladly take. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. You feel the crackle on that one, boys? Oh, yeah. I think visually the game does a really good job making you feel overpowered, and it doesn't take that long for you to get in here and actually get that feeling of power. Give me a speed increase. Yeah, there we go. Now we're moving a little bit better. We're launching mortars. Oh, the boss is on grid. I didn't even realize. The bosses also have really cool looking abilities. I'm going to drop that right there while the boss closes with us. And then I'm going to see if I can drop an AoE on him. But man, boss is just fogging out the screen right now with mayhem. Launch that over to there. I'm going to need all of my turrets to start firing fairly soon. Let me... Oh, I don't have any reloads left. I don't have any rerolls left. All right, well, I guess I'll take that. Let me heal at the med kit as well. He just wiped out my defense grid. You little douche. Here, catch that. Catch it with your face. Give me my shield and my shock orbs. And then light this bad boy off. Yeah! And down he goes. And we've got a few little upgrades over here that I am interested in taking a look at. However, the base is getting chewed on, so I'm going to need to fall back and, like, retrofit all of this a little bit. Yeah, that'll do. We're kind of holding right now. Sorta. Like a little bit. Let me check my gear real fast. So we've got a reload time helmet. I'll take it. That's fine. We've got an ability cooldown chest over here. I'll take it. I do wish that your gear changed on your character whenever you swapped out your loot, but that's not the way that it works. How fast are we right now? Like, what is our movement speed up to? It's up to 805. I don't know what that means inside the context of the game. It's just a number to me, but hey. We do have a new rifle over here. It fires a little bit faster than what we have. We could go with the pistol. So the pistol does 240. Actually, I think we should do the pistol, in all fairness. Because I think if we do the math on that, the pistol comes out better. Downside to the pistol being, I gotta be right up inside the enemy's booty crack in order to, like, shoot him, but that's life, I suppose. Give me a little bit of that right there. We've got something flagged on screen right now over to this left-hand side. I should probably go check on that and see what it is. If you want to, MOBA style, at any time you can teleport back to your base, but it takes too long. I think they need to make it snappier. So it's usually just faster to run back on foot. Throw that out there. Give me some shock orbs. There are a lot of zombies up here, man. You guys are not playing around right now. Just a big old horde off in this corner. Okay, well, let me mulch a couple of them. Throw my AoE up there. We got some green boots. It's not really what I'm looking for. We can get a legendary intellect boost. I don't mind that. Yeah, make my abilities hit a little bit harder. Let me grab the boots over here. gat a few of them down. Oh, we got another turret over on this side, too. No rest for the wicked, I suppose. Oh, we got all kinds of spawners and things over here. I've been neglecting my duty to the north side of the map, tee-hee duty, but drop that over there. Okay, another one bites the dust. Big old stack of kills. Give me them boots. These boots were made for wearing, and just won't do. Good stuff. Light off the ultimate. It's on a fairly short cooldown, so I don't see why we shouldn't. Alright, cool stuff. Let me go grab my helmet real quick, and then I'm going to handle my level up right in the middle of the enemy. Reduce load speed by 5% for 4 seconds after shooting. I'm just going to take the 10 health. I don't think that's that useful. Alright, so we're looking okay. With 30 seconds left until Rifty Boy time, I'm going to go back to base and see if there's anything worth purchasing inside of here. You can get some nice boosts inside this area. I don't think that all of the loot drops just yet because I've never seen the purple crystals as of right now, but I think you can also get them for salvaging gear. I don't know if we have any purples at the moment, but yeah, as we're selling, we're not getting anything back for that either, even though it says that we're selling. And on a side note, get rid of that confirmation prompt right there. Make it faster. Make it just like click and hold or something. I don't know. I find it obnoxious to have to click multiple times to destroy my gear. Every single time I want to destroy it. We do have a physical damage increase right there. I'm going to give that a go. I've never bought that before, so I'm sort of curious about how that's going to make things work. Finish off some of these zombies over here, and then we got like 6 seconds until the boss. It looks like it makes my gun hit a lot harder. Like, it seems like I'm one-tapping zombies at this point, which is good. That's exactly where I want to be. I don't want this boss to annihilate my entire front line base building area. So I think I'm going to try to fight him out here, maybe. Just put, like, a little bit of smoke on him. Light off the ultimate. Waiting for my drones to come in, too, and start putting damage on him. Yeah, there you go. My little Joni the Droney's getting it done. He's throwing a mine at me, so I'm going to stay away from that. The bosses do get pretty hectic as you get further on into the game, so watch out for their little stompy zones. I think I'm about to lose some turrets. Yeah, we got... Oh, nice. We got an epic SMG. Hell yeah. Okay, so let's put the epic SMG on, and just to test it out... Yeah, I didn't really get any loot for destroying the epic pistol, but the epic SMG is going to be putting down some serious scowl, so we're going to be knocking some serious chunks out of these dorks. We got another level up. I'll probably take the +2 to movement speed, just so I can run around a little bit quicker. I don't know what it's tagging over on this side, but it's tagging something. Oh, red crystals. Yeah, we could probably do that. Let's put in some guns down here. Maybe throw just some shock in that direction. I don't know if these are going to hold because they just spawned in the snipers, and these snipers right here are like an unholy nightmare when it comes to knocking out your base. Perfect. New helmet for me, and then back. Yeah, the snipers really kind of messed up my plan. Kind of having trouble picking all these dudes off. I wonder if that's the thing that gives me the purple crystals. I've never been able to capture one just yet. I would like to capture one, but it just hasn't happened. Throw that at him, just to keep him up out of my neck of the woods. Man, they are obliterating my defenses right now. There we go. We got that all nice and set up. Yeah, that's really kind of a problem. I don't know if this base is going to hold. My hope, though, is that they're running back purple crystals. That'd be great. But I don't think this position's going to hold for much longer. they're just knocking my stuff out way too quickly. Maybe we go with mortar spam, see if that helps. It says my base is under attack, but it only looks like one mob on the mini-map, so I'm not that worried about it. Let's get projectile cooldown. You can also get projectile stacks. I had like 6 projectiles on one of my runs, which was hella fun. Build that back up and get it running again. Maybe I'll go check on my base and just kind of see what's happening over here. My HP's not really going down, but I don't know. I'll take the extra HP over there. The downside is that these snipers are 100% going to get to my base before too long, and then they're going to systematically kind of pick off all of my defensive positions. I also don't know where they're spawning from. Maybe from this over here. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to thin out the enemy spawns, but it was worth a shot. We've got utility charges. Yeah, I'll take an extra utility charge. Why not? That way I can spam my AoE a little bit better. And now we got to go fight this idiot up in this top corner. Oh, buddy. Honestly, I think it's the damage calculation that might be lagging out the game, because sometimes with visual effects it doesn't lag out, but I notice when there's a lot of numbers on screen it does. And I did test, it's something inherent to the game, because I tested it out where I lowered the graphics all the way down and it didn't help performance like in the slightest. And so this is really one of the major downsides to the game. I'll take a little bit more ability damage, that sounds good. Yep, just wipe all those guys out. I'm trying to close the gap and get to the boss, but I don't know if it's going to work out. Oh, I believe he's here. Never mind. Let's take my ultimate gets another charge. I cannot tell you how badly I want to light off 2 ultimates at the same time. This guy's got a lot of things flying around right now. I gotta kill off like his little vanguard over here. And until I do that, I don't think we're gonna accomplish much. He's taking damage though. Give him my shield. Oh boy, okay. Yep, ate that one straight to the dome piece. The problem I'm running into is that none of my abilities are recharged right now. That's really my main problem. Yeah, we're taking a little bit too much damage, and unfortunately with the game on auto fire, you can't pick what you're shooting at, which once again is why I kind of wish this game was a twin stick. Because then I could ignore all these little dudes around the boss and kind of focus my fire on this guy. Drop both those on him. I don't know if that's going to move the margin at all. Light off 2 of them, dude. Yeah! There we go. I don't know if I have the damage to beat him, in all honesty. Normally when I fight this guy and it's meant to be, I kill him like instantly. Something may have gone deeply wrong with my build. Yeah, even my gun's not really hurting him. If I can draw him back into the defense grid and he doesn't wipe it out instantly with his AoEs, it may work out here, but it's kind of hard to predict. Throw another projectile at him, get up in there. Ooh, every time I go in, I catch a fat one. All right, I'm going to fall back. I'm going to fall back till I regenerate. Oh, buddy. Do we have heals around anywhere? I'm going to need some heals. Let him just march towards the base for a second. I'm going to go grab a med kit. There we go. All better. Oh, nope. We're putting damage on him. I don't know if it's really working. I'm letting my defense grid put a little damage on him too. I mean, we spent all the time building that stuff. We might as well let it smack on him a little bit. Jump out of the way of that. Definitely stay out of the way of that. He's going to do that scatter bomb attack now that I find very difficult to dodge. Come on, melt him up. Ooh, I thought I dashed right into that one. I thought I was toast. Let's finish him with style. So many legendaries. Hell yeah. I gotta equip one first. Oh, it won't let me. No! You don't get to keep the gear after your run. I do hope that they change the game so that you get to keep your gear at the end of the run. That way levels could get like logarithmically more difficult, but you have to kind of gear up your guys in lower levels and then risk them in the higher risk area, you know what I mean? In order to like get even better stuff like legendary pluses, legendary pluses, things of that nature. In between runs, you're going to get money for all the stuff that you accomplish during your run, and you're going to spend that on the research screen. I've already done all the researches that exist inside the playtest as of right now, but this is going to be stuff like giving your turrets different tiers that can be upgraded to, giving your walls different tiers that can be upgraded to, and other supplementary stuff like adding a healing aura to your base, adding more Marines to your squad, which is now what we need to talk about. I'm going to add a second Marine into my squad here, and I'm going to talk about how I don't really think that the multi-unit squad works. The developer has already kind of admitted this on the forums and says that he's searching for a solution to like reconfigure the game. So don't count on this being in here for long, but we'll drop back on in and I'll give you my closing thoughts. So when you drop in with 2 Marines, that's where this game gets a little bit weird. Because you control both Marines with W, A, S, and D. You can command the other Marine to go to other spots, but he comes back instantly. Basically, it's a control issue. It's very, very difficult to keep both of your Marines alive as you get further on into the game, because you saw the amount of spam that there was during like boss fights and stuff like that. It just makes it very difficult to keep them alive, and so it's just easier to look after one Marine. On top of that, you level up both Marines at the same time. You also equip both Marines at the same time with equipment. You can swap in between them with the 1 and the 2 key to alternate their cooldowns. It's just way, 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 way too chaotic. I played around with it for probably 30 minutes, and I noticed something. I was dying way sooner in every single run than I would have otherwise died, and that's a problem. That means that the player is getting kind of overwhelmed with micromanaging the squad. Now, the good news is the developer has said that he's aware that the mechanic kind of doesn't work, and he's trying to think about ways that he could make it work. My suggestion would be maybe like a Marvel versus Capcom type deal. So get rid of all health regeneration, and instead of have health regeneration be like an internal stat, and then you can swap your characters on the fly with an instant teleport, and only guys that are basically back in the staging area waiting to be deployed again, they're the only ones that regenerate in accordance with their health regeneration stat or something like that. And then while you've got guys that are back waiting to be deployed, they give supplementary bonuses based on, you know, how you level them up in between runs or something like that. You know, one of them might give you a drone that's now upgradable and adds all of its upgrades into the roster of things that can drop. Another one, you know, might give you like a mysterious stranger that shows up and like rakes the field with gunfire, and there's a bunch of upgrades that get added into the lottery when your main character levels up that add on into that. Kind of tough to say the way that that would work, but either way, that's going to be one of the fundamental things that needs to be reconfigured with how this game works. Aside from that, though, I think their core gameplay is in a good spot. It's just that their gimmick doesn't work. And so it just adds too much confusion and chaos to the game. You can drop control of these guys and just leave them in a spot like a turret like that right there, and then you can click on them and kind of like move him to a different spot like over here and have him hold the point. But I still find equipping them, leveling them both up separately, it's just way too chaotic with like different cooldowns and everything else. Kind of impossible to keep track of. But yeah, closing thoughts. So I think with Dust Raiders, I'm ready to do this. So the rub is that the game is at its basic level good. It's an energetic shooter. It manages to take horde survival and mixes it up with some interesting mechanics that keep you constantly hustling. That's what I like about the game, is there's not really a lot of opportunity for your attention to lapse. But for me personally, I think I have a few problems here, and the main thing that I want to get across before I talk about those main problems is that the basic gameplay is good. There's just things that don't work here. And so first and foremost, the biggest glaring flaw is just that the squad-based gameplay doesn't work. It feels bad. It's just way too difficult to properly manage a squad in a game where AoEs are being spammed with a very fast deployment time. Like, high-level raids and MMOs don't have AoEs that go off this fast, and this game does, and it's very difficult to keep everybody safe, so you just don't have the time to issue orders and have guys avoid hits, and they end up dying, and thus you kind of just leave them dead because rezzing them's a pain in the ass, and then you just play the game solo because the game is perfectly winnable solo. That's a conflict right there. So why bring more guys and make your game feel worse to play, because that's exactly what happens if you don't have to. The game is rad until you have to play with a squad. I had a great time until the moment I played around with the squad mechanics. From there, I think this game would actually be a better game as a twin-stick shooter, where I can pick where I shoot, and the weapon ranges I felt like were far too prohibiting. All of them could be safely doubled. The game would feel way better. Honestly, I don't even know if they need the weapon ranges. They could just let you twin stick and fire at whatever you want. Frankly, the feeling I have is that this game is trying to go in a Vampire Survivors direction, when instead it should be going in a Crimson Land direction. There's also a lot of room for performance enhancements, as lag in this game is death. Like, you have very, very limited time to get out of way of stuff, and sometimes you just get this visual lag that makes it difficult to do that otherwise. The base building portion, I think, needs some love. It's too simple as it stands right now. It also needs more variety in the player abilities. They all need to be more customizable. There needs to be more of them before I'd say a purchase on the menu, but the things that the game does right are forthright. The gameplay is responsive, the guns feel good, they sound good, the upgrades feel meaningful. I love the short cooldowns, enemy variety is solid, the guns are punchy and satisfying. Upgrades in this game, when you get new weapons and you just clack them out, it does feel like the stats affect step by step what you're doing. So if you get like +5 focus, you can feel that health regeneration. If you get +5 dexterity, you can feel that movement speed. That's good. I don't think that this game should adhere to a timer, Vampire Survivor style. I don't think the player should also lose their loot after every run. I think instead the game should be endless survival, where you have to do risk reward and you punch out for a dropship when you feel like you're getting overrun, with like a long timer before you get picked up, so you can't wait till the last second. And I think that the future maps in this game should be tailored under the assumption that the players accumulated enough gear and enough stats to risk it all to dive down onto a considerably more difficult planet one more time, because when your characters die in this game, they're just gone and you have to start over from scratch with a new Marine. And so that is to say, I mentioned this before, but I don't think the gameplay is being fully utilized or accentuated by leaning into Vampire Survivors style level layouts. With this game, it feels apparent that it would very much lend itself to a twin stick extraction focus much better than in its current iteration. It just seems to me that all the mechanics coming together favor that direction. Right now, the game is good, but it has the potential to be great. It does use asset packs. I do think that's going to hurt this game. I think it would coast a lot further with a dedicated art style that's distinct from the million other Cinti asset games that are out there. But it's one of those situations where it's made by one guy and there's monetary considerations to take into account. So I'm guessing he would very much like to have a way cooler art style, but assets are what he could afford. But this is one of the rare asset games that, despite being mostly made up of said assets, actually feels pretty good. I think the developer of this game knows what he's doing. The good news is that this is only the second public playtest that this game has ever done, which means that you definitely have time to pivot and reconfigure things, because your gameplay is fun, it's frenetic, it's enjoyable. It's just that the mechanical nails that are being used to hold up that gameplay, I don't think fully mesh with what the game naturally lends itself to be, just from what I'm seeing and feeling right here while I'm playing it. Now, by no means do you have to do what I say. Alright, I'm just some asshole on the internet. I may be completely and totally wrong, but this is Dustwalkers. My name is Splattercat. I sift through the pile to find what's worthwhile in the world of indie games every single day so that you don't have to. Today up on the chopping block, Dustwalkers. As previously said, tomorrow to be something else. Thanks for hanging out with me. That's all I got for you, folks.